What's cooking, folks? Vermillion Phoenix here, and today we are jumping into some more Orcs Must Die Unchained. This time we're going through the throne room with Brass. So, I've been trying to gather my feedback for the character just before any changes are made to her, so I can provide that both to you guys and to the developers, because I know sometimes they take a look at these. And overall, like from the play that I've gotten with her so far, and I haven't finished like pretty much most of the Rift Lord levels, but of what I have done, I will say that I think that the weakest part of her kit is really her turret right now, and it's for a couple of reasons. Like there's a whole lot of math that goes into it, but essentially the turret is a low health dummy that deals damage, like a decoy. So its primary purpose is still to deal damage, but it doesn't have enough life to really sustain itself in situations where you have a large pack of enemies, and it has no AoE damage. So the best situations for it are those where you can plant it next to something else that will deal significant area of effect damage, and that also draws aggro. So it can sort of hit enemies with that AoE damage, because the turret itself, while being able to deal solid damage, isn't amazing simply because of the fact that it doesn't deal damage in an area. And while single target damage is super important in this game when you're going for things like endless, because heavy enemies are pretty much what will murder you or soak up the majority of your DPS, it's the herds or the massive clumps of lesser enemies that really have the opportunity to kill you before then. And so being able to take them out really takes precedence. So you can see kind of like there's a shift in the way that things work usually. If you can't take out herds, you lose really fast. But as the herds of enemies get more stronger, or stronger and stronger, the heavier enemies are the ones that become a threat, because they get the ability to soak up the majority of your DPS first, and as such will likely break through your lines. So that's a lot of ways to say basically that the turret really just doesn't function as a part of a kit that can fill any sort of holes that exist in your defenses. It's more like in addition to the DPS that your trap lanes already do, but placing it at the beginning of the line will get it destroyed faster, and so you generally want it in the back and more than likely near a guardian. So all that rambling is basically to say that if you want to play with the turret actively, keep it at tier 1. And this is why. At tier 1, you can summon the turret and dispel it immediately. If it gets destroyed, doesn't matter, because it costs nothing and it takes like half a second to summon a new turret. However, the turret will die pretty quickly, but that's fine because it's literally free to summon. My other gripe with the turret is the amount of time that you have to spend upgrading it, and I should actually just pick the rest of my traits first. I think we're going to go with Smashing Deals. Now, I could drop Making It Rain to grab Fire Sale, because that's pretty much what we'll be using here. This is not even the right deck. I have a deck specifically for this. Here we go. Haymakers we're not going to use here. And that's because of what I mentioned with Elin before. Haymakers will cause you to lose if you are not careful. But outside of that, this is my wall combo that I like. It's grinders along the areas that enemies will walk, and then spitfires on the areas that normally would be out of reach. So you still get to make use of all the wall space. Throne Room is a map that has significantly low ceiling space until you get towards the end, unless you go into the kitchen. But the kitchen's kind of dangerous because it's a really short path to the rift, and you don't really get to allow all of your traps to focus damage really well. There's also some really weird pathing issues with this map because of the way the flags are set up. I'll see if I can actually demonstrate a couple of those before we get the map started, but I think other than that, you know what? We may only need fire cell for this. So, what else do I want to bring? Wall building PhD is a good choice. Let's get fire sale over here. Oops, I want that back. Where is the arcane Dragonlance? All right. And then for my other trap, I'm going to choose to go with a brimstone. Well, brimstone or cursed ground. Because if I take the arcane discount, 2 arcane traps cost less, but I would take that instead of the lifesteal on hit, but I guess that's okay. Let's go ahead and grab Feeling Fierce. Gear costs scrap with brass, so I'm really not going to be using offensive gear that often. And I guess the Ring of Last Stand is pretty good if we need to go generate some. The guardians that I'll be using will be in the temple, so we're going to go with the friar and the priest. Priest is recommended because there are fire elemental enemies here, and he freezes enemies, which is a super big advantage one-on-one. So let's do that, and let's go ahead and get this started.
Tiny but effective.
That's pretty much it. So, sorry for all the rambling. We actually are going to get started here. So, what I was trying to talk about before with regards to the pathing, and this map has always had really weird pathing things, but every time they update it, like, new things tend to happen. But essentially, what you normally want to do is, if you're not using the kitchen, you want to prevent them from walking through it, because it sort of just causes these issues where they spend a lot of time running through here, and unless you trap it with a low trap count, because this map only allows 85 traps, you will run into issues. So, let's say you attempt to put a barricade back here. This blocks off this path. Enemies will try to walk around here anyway. You cannot, for any reason, block off this particular area. Now, if you block this area immediately, enemies won't try to go through here. They turn around, they don't come into the kitchen at all, and they just leave. However, if for whatever reason you block off any pathing into the kitchen, like once they get past this little frameway, you cannot block this area off. I have no idea why. It says it will block path. There's still other areas to the rift. And I'm guessing that just has something to do with the way that the pathing logic for the game works. But I'm pretty sure it's unintentional. It's just the way it happens right now. We're going to have enemies go down this way, along this wall, up these stairs, around here, and then back into that area. Well, hopefully into the green pool of acid, but ultimately what they're going to do is come here. We're going to place our guardian. They're going to freeze when they try to walk through this little area, and hopefully there's not enough of them that they can overrun them. So, I actually could have dropped the slow and added another damaging trap, such as the brimstone or the firecracker, but I did not, and that may be entirely my fault. So, I did get the arcane discount, so this should be interesting. And I still can't place that many of these. Jeez. Alright. Either way, we're going to face our floor scourgers going out here. As soon as this breaks, it will be able to burn enemies that are immediately coming through. We're going to add one more of these arcanes down here. The reason that we put these here is that they will damage enemies that are on fire, and if enemies happen to have the on fire buff or debuff, and they're taking damage, and they hit these two. Because these deal less damage, most damage isn't lost on the soldier's sturdy or steady ability, and that's ultimately what we're going for. Brass, because of the multiple hits from her blunderbuss, I'm not sure you'll be able to see him here, but it's a lot of attacks. You got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, at least 10 shots, all doing damage. Generally eat through the damage reduction pretty well because of that. So she can one-shot soldiers in a lot of situations. But I've been talking for a whole lot of time. Let's go ahead and get this started. Now, what I mentioned about the turret before is essentially what you want to do is you just place it out there. Now,
Not a piece of scrap anymore.
the amount of time that it takes to upgrade the turret is ooh. Oh, this doesn't have a purple wall. So the turret ignores walls. Interesting. Alright, doing okay now. I probably should have saved that cannonball. So the way that Brass's normal shot rotation works, before you get any weavers, you can generally fire a cannonball every 2 primary attacks, which is pretty nice. Okay.
This will be useful.
Alright.
Wait till they come through here.
Gonna drop that now.
Just a simple adjustment. The more I gain, the more I deliver the pain.
So I generally try not to spend too much time upgrading the turret. Gonna grab Brass's bomb cache. And so you can see situations where the arcane phasers, or I'm sorry. Wait, are they? No, are they phasers? No, cursed ground. There we go. Jeez, I'm forgetting the name of the traps. That's what old age will do to you, folks. You get senile. But yeah, burning enemies flipped on top of those, they will take the damages. So this thing almost died, and it's not even worth my time to upgrade that, since it basically absorbs my scrap and prevents me from actually trying to par here. So I'm gonna run back here. Oh, come on. We're gonna block that. We're gonna block over here, and then we're just gonna go, so I don't waste too much time. Now we still want to burn these guys in here. They need to be extra crispy before they get anywhere. And then of course we have that. So with that guy coming through, we're basically going to want to try to murder him as soon as possible. Now, there's a few issues with Brass that I haven't hit on yet, at least not a lot, but there's crystal and structures she can't damage with her wrench. That's this ability right here. That's important because they come in 2 forms. One is unstable rifts. The other is the kobold's totems. Now, it could be that that particular type of thing is in the game somewhere else, but currently those are the areas that I recognize them from immediately, and the issue with that is primarily there's no way you can use that against totems whatsoever. Okay. So this should be good. I'm gonna take the extra scrap just because I do like being able to spam bombs when it's beneficial, and that's my personal tactic at dealing with large groups of enemies. I'm not sure if they're going to decide to change the way that the bombs work, but the primary goal is just the AoE damage. Now, if they happen to have arming time or something like that in the future, than, you know, rip bomb
This will be
strategies.
useful.
But for now, I like it.
Maybe one over here.
Swords tickle? I guess arrows murder you then.
Our barricades are under attack.
Oh, come on. Get out of here. Alright, let me just spam these. There's plenty of scrap that I haven't picked up. Plenty. So one of the things that Brass definitely has issues with is going to be archers. Why are those guys still back there? I didn't have anything that I recognized as slowing them down. And I'm already on wave 5, 5 minutes in. It's a little slow.
They come right through here.
So let's go ahead and trap this up, since essentially everything was just running through here rampantly.
Boss minion has entered the battlefield.
Wait till they come through here.
Alright. So since I have my scrap,
Watch out! An unstable rift is opening. Get to it and destroy it.
The enemy's boss is down.
yep, boss is definitely dead. Those guys are gonna die. Yep, there we go. And the unstable rift, oh crap. Brass has really bad movement overall. She's no better than Hogarth in most situations. And without any sort of teleportation ring or anything like that, effectively you're at the mercy of how fast her little legs can carry her. And while that's not necessarily a bad thing, yeah, we're just going to put damage there. Forget slowing them down. I guess we can slow them down over here.
This will be useful. Another genius setup.
Alright, so everybody will be on fire. That's the goal. Alright, so I screwed up. There are... Oh, maybe I can save it.
Our
Nope.
barricades are under
Oh gosh, no. Alright. He did a good job. Good guy Guardian saves the day. So...
Our barricades are under
yeah,
attack.
because you can't move really fast, if there were too many kobolds and, like, I don't have any weavers or upgrades for her right click yet,
They've destroyed our barricades.
ooh, not the ones I needed, so okay.
Dominating is not that hard.
Yeah, we're just gonna drop all of those over there, pick these up, and keep moving forward. So I want to put these back. I have a ton of coin too. There's a few things that I want to do back here, namely set up a ton of ballista. One of the things you can do, since I'm not really using slows a lot, is if you wanted to,
Barricades are taking damage.
you could technically bring boom barrel rollers. Boom barrel rollers are excellent choices here at any level. They can be placed up here and will hit basically anyone that attempts to
To be placed.
walk through there. So that's great. These guys up at the top on wave 7 are super slow. So, you know, feel free to meet them up here. Give them some encouragement to speed up. I'm going to drop the turret there for free. See how it kind of draws attention. It's not really great at dealing damage. Like, one AoE attack and I significantly out damage it. But see how you can just drop it as a way to absorb damage and hold enemies. That's pretty much what I see as its primary purpose, and really I think that's all you need.
Maybe one over here. Another over here.
Alright, so that's everything that I will ever need up there. I should pretty much be able to defend from the back now.
Our barricades are under attack. They've destroyed
Pretty
our
sure
barricades.
I fired at one of those and they just dodged all the shots. Alright. Scrap Boom is probably one of the most important brass
On its way.
weavers in my opinion. One of the issues that you'll have with her if you use either the bombs or the turret extensively is that you'll kind of need scrap. If you put the turret in a place where enemies are able to reach it easily, you'll have to heal it too much. That takes so much time out of your game that it's ridiculous.
The boss minion is
Like, alright, think about how much time it takes for me to place the turret after it gets destroyed, right? It's about a second, maybe less than that. You get the little her jumping animation, the turret's out, it's firing, it's absorbing aggro. However,
fighting too close to our
if you imagine the amount of time that it would take for me to, say, upgrade the turret completely, which I think is about somewhere between 15 and 20 seconds,
barricades are under attack.
it's just not worth it.
They've destroyed our barricades.
Yeah, good job.
They've summoned the boss minion. Our barricades
Not
are
really
under
too
attack.
worried about that guy.
They've destroyed our barricades.
Alright, as long as they don't destroy the import. Oh crap, I did not. So this is the second time that's happened to me. Where,
Unstable rift was not destroyed. Enemy minions incoming.
This is a place of prayer.
Be gone. Our barricades are under attack. They've destroyed our
Those with
barricades.
less faith must be kept.
alright, so that's me selling those and getting the coin back. But yeah, I didn't hear that unstable rift was open, and that's not the first time that that's happened to me. I had one other video that I luckily recorded where that sort of happened, and then I was completely unaware that I heard it. Now I'm gonna check this one just to see if that was the case again, but I think I rely on the audible cues here a bit much, and I think if it can't be coded that there's some sort of prioritization for that sort of audio, that maybe some sort of visual cue could be added. I know it's probably like one more thing you don't want to have to see on the screen all the time, but without that, you seem pretty vulnerable to me. At least in situations where there's a whole lot happening. I do like the fact that the cannonball is a skill shot, because you can do some really amazing things with it. That guy just stopped and got cooked. Turret's dead. Let's go ahead and place it again. So yeah, this kind of works. Although, in that case, you still want to place the turret in a place where there's a lot of damage happening. So we got the cannonball coming. 2 seconds off the already low 4-second cannonball cooldown. This allows you to do the ultimate in Orcs Must Die cheese currently available. Let's see if I can pull this off. So we hit V, and we look as everything that has a health bar melts. And we're just gonna start lobbing cannonballs pretty much towards everything. Now normally that guy's shield actually prevents things from being able to die. That was not the case here. Yeah, brass is a little broken right now, so I'm expecting nerfs.
The
And
unstable rift was not destroyed.
Oh.
Enemy minions incoming.
did I miss that because of all the sound effects? That's great. Alright, so those guys are actually going to be trying to go through, they're going to turn around. There we go. So, I'm messing up now, because once you get the cannonball coming, Weaver, Your rotation should actually just be like right click, left click, or sequence for the attacks, just because they have about the same amount of cooldown.
You've made it to the final wave.
Okay, a minute and 20 seconds for the final wave. Probably not enough, but we'll see.
This baby's got firepower.
I guess it does. Yeah, we just want them dead sooner rather than later. So let's go ahead and just dump bombs.
I'm thinking low hit points is not good. Right there.
Alright, that's it for them. Now if we can clear the top gate within these next 45 seconds, we get the 5 stars.
Entered the battlefield.
It might be possible. Lysander tends to slow things down a bit. Not with the not necessarily with the summoning of the monsters, but mainly because he just takes forever to get in here.
Defeated.
So another bug that will probably be fixed sometime in the future, because I've talked with a couple people about this, that it's not intended. That is that oh gosh, just let them come in so that they don't waste my time. Her primary attack currently goes through shields. That's not intended. Oh, let me hurry up and kill these dudes. Come on, die please. Thank you. So there we go. So that was really close, and if I had spent the time to upgrade the turret or place it in a position that was farther back and you know, just any time spent upgrading it, I basically would not have 5-starred there. So I think because of the amount of time the turret takes to actually use, and it's not the initial placing is simple enough. It's running back and trying to upgrade it during maps with tighter pars. You're going to find that you have an issue with that. And it's important because it causes issues with score, and it also means that you might miss par for players that are going for that sort of thing. So if you haven't parred the stage yet, it's not something that you want to do. So think about using somebody else or just not upgrading the turret. I mean, Brass's kit right now is such that upgrading the turret is really not needed, and if you ever have the turret in a situation where its health is just going to be beat down anyway, like healing the turret takes forever. But yeah, that is the throne room. So we have the throne room done with Elin. We have the throne room done with Brass. I guess we can move on to the restricted section. Just a heads up for anybody that doesn't know, there is currently a bug where summoning your guardian will... What are those purple lights? I don't recall seeing those before. Yeah, they're on the mini-map. Weird. But there is a situation where way back in beta land, before this game hit its official release, there was a situation in the long mist siege mode where if a guardian was behind the gate was invulnerable. Like similar to the purple portals that you see the orcs coming out of on a lot of areas. You can't deal damage through those. It absorbs the damage, and the gate just remains up until whatever defending guardian is, you know, in front of that gate gets killed. There's an issue on this map specifically where sometimes a guardian will activate that purple wall in front of a gate that the orcs need to smash, and normally the purple wall is supposed to prevent you from dealing damage. This time it prevents them. So I would wait until the both gates are open on the right side of the map before placing a guardian, and that should prevent the error. But it's something that developers know about. I'm not sure when it's going to be fixed, but you know, I understand that some people probably ran into it and were a little pissed. So just so you guys are aware, this is kind of my PSA about it. But yeah, we'll be moving on to the restricted section. restricted section sometime probably later this week. But I think Wednesday, what I'm going to try to do is hit up another endless map. Somebody's been asking me to do endless avalanche forever, and I think that I wanted to wait until the trap changes, which happened in this patch, because they were announced. Then I was like, all right, if I do it, then, you know, if I use anything that gets modified, then it'll be like, oh, maybe the solution doesn't work afterwards. So we're going to try to hit that up, figure something out that works for 25 waves, and then you guys will see it. But either way, I sincerely hope you guys enjoyed this. I apologize for the video being super long because I'm talking all over the place. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, as always, have a good one, folks.